Welcome to winter in Nova Scotia, and if you're wondering why I'm here, well, the hoodie says it all. I'm here for Lobster Crawl, which is a relatively new event. It's been around for a few years, and basically what it does is it celebrates all things lobster in the South Shore region of Nova Scotia. Yes, Nova Scotia does have its allure through warmer months, and all of my previous visits up until now have been in summer or autumn, but thanks to the Lobster Crawl initiative, they're really showcasing how Nova Scotia can be a year-round destination. Seeing as Barrington, Nova Scotia is the lobster capital of Canada, it's fitting that the Lobster Crawl takes place in the South Shore region, which is where Barrington happens to be, along with a bunch of other great, fantastic, and exciting communities. Join me on my very first Lobster Crawl experience in the South Shore region of Nova Scotia, where I actually got to be a judge in the Lobster Roll-Off Competition, which determines the best lobster roll, and there are so many great ones in the South Shore region of Nova Scotia. I started off my journey by taking one of many direct flights from Toronto to Halifax, and the boarding process was pretty easy, and I picked up a window seat, which makes it good, especially when you want clips like this and this. It's a pretty short flight, just a little over 2 hours, and if you are flying from Toronto, keep in mind there is a 1 hour time difference. Once on the ground in Halifax, it's pretty easy to navigate the airport there. Some cool signage as well as a little welcome center and a quick drive from the airport to downtown Halifax, and I stayed at the Muir the first night. The rooms are beautiful. It's a really upscale place. The food is fantastic, and I definitely recommend it. After a great night's sleep and a fresh cup of coffee in the morning, we hit the road and headed west for about an hour until we got to Chester, which is our first stop. And here's where you'll find the beautiful, quaint, and lovely and charming Kiwi Cafe. And it was my first lobster roll of this visit, and good chunks of lobster, nice side of potato chips. Would definitely have it again. And just the atmosphere is really, really enticing. And yes, there's a gift shop on site. About 2 hours west of Chester is Barrington, Canada's lobster capital. And we went to the Barrington Museum Complex and felted our own little lobster. Now that's not mine, that's Sherry's. This is me working on mine, not stabbing myself. I was quite proud. And it's a pretty delicate process peeling it off because you don't want to pull it too hard. But I'm pretty proud of it. Blue lobster, red claws, little face. After all that felting, we worked up an appetite, and the Salt Banker was our dinner stop. And boy, oh boy, this place is absolutely wonderful. That's my lobster roll. That is the cream lobster. There's the lobster mac and cheese, which I'm going to show you not once, but twice, but thrice. It was that good. There is the lobster nachos and some pasta. And Sherry had a huge portion, and everything tasted so good. And in the tank, they actually had a blue lobster, and they pulled it out for us to take a look at. From there, we settled in for a great night's sleep at the Starboard Inn and Portside Lounge. Definitely would go again. We got up early and headed off to the Cape Sable Island Causeway for Lucy the Lobster and her prediction on whether we're going to get 6 more weeks of winter or not. What really stood out here was the sense of community and the sense of welcoming everybody, and it truly is an authentic community experience. And they have a little mascot, and most people are decked out in their red lobster toques, and there I am in the big claws, and it was such a wonderful experience. And yes, we are getting 6 more weeks of winter according to Lucy the Lobster, but I'm totally okay with that. From there, we went to a tour of the Fisher Direct Lobster Facility, and it's a great way to see how lobsters go from the ocean floor and end up on your plate. We're also shown the difference between a male and a female lobster, and generally how the whole process from production cycle works, and they're able to ship worldwide. So keep that in mind the next time a lobster shows up on your plate. It just might have come from them. Next up was lunch at Captain Cat's, who have won not one but 2 lobster roll competitions as far as Lobster Crawl goes. You can get fresh lobster, you can get one of the prepared dishes. Of course, I got a lobster roll. Here's a quick look at the lobster bruschetta. Here's a look at the lobster fondue, which is amazing. And my lobster roll looks and tastes absolutely wonderful. If you're in this part of the world, go check out Captain Cat's. In Birchtown is the Black Loyalist Heritage Center, and it's the first free black settlement in Canada with the arrival of the United Empire Loyalists. There's plenty to see, learn, and experience indoors as well as outdoors through a heritage walking trail. You can take a look at St. Paul's Anglican Church, and overall it's just a really great place to learn more about Canada's heritage and history. From Birchtown, we went to Shelburne County, which is where you'll find the Emerald Light. It is new, it is classy, and their contribution for a lobster crawl? The full roll. This thing should win an award. Look at how amazing it is. It's huge, it's massive, and most importantly, it's delicious. The service is great. The food is absolutely wonderful. The desserts are great too, not just this. And I did have some restraint. I split this with Sherry because it would be far too much for me to eat, but definitely check the Emerald Light out if you're in Shelburne. Another great day deserves another great sleep, and the Loyalist Inn and Suites had us covered top to bottom, comfortable rooms, and great service. Down the road, also in Shelburne, is the Boxing Rock Brewing Company, and they've been around since 2012, so a little over a decade. They've got stock ale, pale ales, IPAs, Irish stouts, bitters, lagers, and really it's just a great variety of things, and the food is absolutely wonderful, plus there's a little event space in the corner. Back in the car for a quick 15-minute drive to the District 33 Winery, fairly new, and they are the official wine of the Lobster Crawl for 2024. There's some great ciders, there's some great wines, and the event space is pretty cool too, so definitely a must visit. Sandy Point Lighthouse is not part of Lobster Crawl, but it's part of Nova Scotia's history and heritage, so definitely stop and check that out. We popped into Mr. Fish to get our fresh lobsters just caught that morning for our lovely dinner that night. Owners are super friendly, and we popped them in the back of the van to keep them safe. A real treat came at dinner time when the kilted chef gave us a personal demonstration on how to specifically shell a lobster, whether you have tools, whether you don't. And just hearing his knowledge and him taking the time to share that with us is something that I will always remember. And it's not just a matter of eating the claws and the tail. There are so many other parts of the lobster, from the little legs to the roe. And it's just a great experience to have that devoted attention. Wonderful people, wonderful food, and it's one of my most memorable meals. Off to Bridgewater the next morning to check out the Des Brisets Museum, and there's a lot of cool stuff. Don't let its small size fool you. There's a lot to learn and experience and really just have a great time examining. Now, because it is Lobster Crawl, they did give us a wooden lobster to put together. It looks a little daunting, but it definitely can be done. There's the beginning stages of it, and a big shout out to Lynette from the museum for helping and being so wonderful. Here's the big day. It is my turn to be a judge for the 2024 Lobster Crawl Lobster Roll-Off. It's a great community initiative. There are vendors, and it's just a great uplifting atmosphere. There's a list of your last winners, and the place was packed. So here's a quick look at my score sheet, and it's out of 50. And this year there were 8 participants in total. So as there were 4 judges, each of us got a quarter for roll, because if we had 8 full lobster rolls each, well, let's not go there. And it was such an exciting experience, and being welcomed into their community as someone who has never been there before. And I would definitely come back, not even to judge, but just to experience it. The unique part here is each of the participating restaurants puts their own unique take on what their version of a lobster roll is. There's no right way or wrong way. As long as the predominant meat is lobster, that's all that really counts.
Extremely unique take on a surf and turf, the Emerald Light.
Here's a quick look at all of the participants and their corresponding dishes. This event is only going to get bigger and bigger and bigger as the years go by. Well done. After an exciting day, we went down to Lunenburg and checked in at the Lunenburg Arms Hotel, and the views here are just spectacular. Rooms are nice and quaint. We decided to stay in for dinner, and of course we got a lobster pizza and a Nova Scotia classic, a donair pizza. It's been a truly remarkable and memorable day, one I will never forget. In the morning in Lunenburg, we went for the Lunenburg walking tour, which is a great way to get to know the area, get some history behind it, and the whole team there is absolutely knowledgeable, friendly, and wonderful. There are 5 churches in this little town, and each one of them have something unique to offer, from the design, the architecture, the history behind it, and it is absolutely stunning. While you're in town, make sure you spend some time at the Fisheries Museum of the Atlantic. There is all sorts of history here, and some really, really interesting pieces with lots of explanations. There's multiple floors, and it's easy to spend an entire day in here. My last lobster roll of the trip was at Grand Banker. It is absolutely delicious. There's a Lunenburger, which is delicious in itself. Definitely hit this place up. Final stop for the night is at Oceanstone Resort, which is just outside of Peggy's Cove in Indian Harbor. These quaint rooms are so cool. There's a skylight, and it's just got that nice homely feeling to it. We stayed in for dinner, and while there was no lobster roll, we still had lobster as an appetizer, lobster for a main course, a little bit of wine, and an absolutely wonderful dessert. When you travel with a small group of people, you really get to know them well, especially after a week, and they certainly help make this trip memorable. Since we were beside Peggy's Cove anyway, we popped in there on the way to take me to the airport. This new viewing deck is absolutely amazing. It helps with accessibility because not everybody can and not everybody wants to walk on the rocks to be able to get a close-up pitch of the lighthouse. So well done here, and it's just so well laid out. There's places to sit, and more than just the lighthouse, there's a lot of cool places to take pictures here in Peggy's Cove. I hope you enjoyed the lobster crawl journey and have a new appreciation for this beautiful province, especially in winter. Because Nova Scotia is more than just a summer destination or an autumn destination. There's a lot that it has to offer in the winter, and thanks to great initiatives such as the lobster crawl, Nova Scotia is really showcasing what they can do and what they can offer year-round. From the Atlantic Ocean behind me to the snow all around me, I thank you so much for watching, and I invite you to subscribe and share this video with someone who you think may appreciate it. Thank you so much for all the support, and I look forward to traveling with you again.